Hi there. How you doing? Um, I I just want to, I'm thinking because I keep watching YouTube videos, smart people, good kids, Joe Scott, and Cold Fusion, and the great Paul Beckwith on climate change, and I can see. I keep noticing, some of these kids they're quite bright and they're intelligent, and they're sane, I mean, and they're looking for they every now and then they talk. Well, what about God? Let's talk about God, and they do, like Joe. He had a very intelligent discussion about God from his point of view. And the thing is, you kids, you never get it. You always miss, and it's understandable that you miss. Um, the way the path through to an intelligent and aware seeing understanding about the Almighty is really not difficult. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Once you understand a couple of basic things, once you get past the misdirection and the confusion that occurs, and I keep trying to make this clear, and I'm going to try once again. So here's the thing: um, you don't have, or apparently you feel in your perceptions, in your mind, whatever, your consciousness, you don't feel you have. Some of you, some do. Some people have experiences. They know they've experienced something, you know. But when they start thinking about when the more scientifically inclined, people have a proclivity to go to science and see, okay, what's real, what's not real. Let's see what is the real thing. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's get real. Um, those kinds of people generally just go around in a circle, and it's a sincere circle. I don't think there's anything to criticize there or to say they're falling short. But okay, so you you have what has happened to you is that you have lost your um, understanding of what is coming from God, and how to be, yeah, to be aware that that is coming from God, and what is not, and you've conflated it. You keep mixing it up with what's in the material, the physical reality. Um, you know, and so how has that happened? Well, um, it's happened because of the connection, the direct connection between you and the Almighty is there. God is connected to you, and God does work in your life, and He does guide you. But God is subtle and graceful and non, so that you see it, but you see it over and over and over again. But your mind doesn't recognize it, and the real difficulty comes with the use of your mind. So if if you if you feel something, or you're made to do something, or you have a hunch, or you have this, or you have that about things, and your mind doesn't comprehend that. I mean, it recognizes, well, I had a hunch. I got lucky. Somehow things worked out. In other words, the mind is telling you that it doesn't see, it doesn't get it doesn't understand how that happened. Um, so the first process that you can possibly accept and understand is that when man did have a connection and was aware of that connection with the Almighty and was therefore able to follow prompts and to get it and to get the picture and do the right thing from that point of view, not from the point of view of his own consciousness, his own mind, but because he was aware of the guidance of God, then he could operate in the world without harming himself or without harming other people, and he could have understanding, common sense, basic understanding of things, in a way so that he could grow and learn. And this is the thing that people keep missing. What is our purpose? What is our purpose here? And but this is a question the mind is asking. The mind doesn't seem to know why are we here. But if you sit back and you kind of let your mind sort of calm down a bit, we all know that when you come here, you know so much and you've learned so much, and by the time you leave, you've learned a lot more about how things work in reality and how they don't work. You know that there are some things you can dream about, you can imagine, and they just don't ever happen, and they're not real. And there are other things which you might think, well, that can't be real. But then, as you live long enough, that's how it is. That's how things are. And that's a reference to the actual reality. And so how did this happen? Well, basically, as far as I can see, this is simplistic, but in some sense, but we can't get into details about every little thing, but simplistically, you have the situation historically with man coming here as a being created by God, and as many have said, and as you can see in some sense, quite the creature, quite the creation, and able to do so many things. So that once you go away from that connection, once man, it took a while. It wasn't just overnight, but it took a while. You can see how it might have happened. In other words, you might be, facing some fearsome thing, and you have the guidance of God when you're just quiet within yourself and you're not, taken up with your own fears and your own ideas and your own concepts, your own self-awareness of what is going on. You can see, like, there could be like a guidance that says, okay, just stand fast, don't do anything, just wait. And then you could think, well, no, I can't do that, see, because, this thing's going to eat me, or I have to get out of here. I have to survive. So, on the basis of your anxiety to survive, you could go outside, as we say, of the will of God, and so you could run. And then once you ran, you could see you got away, and you can see how this goes down this rabbit hole, and you say, well, that was obviously the thing I had to do, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas you didn't realize that if you just stood there, that just at the last moment, the animal would have lost interest in you and would have gone off somewhere else, and God would have been protecting you. It's just an example. You can think of a million examples. You want to eat something, and it's not really good for you, so guys, no. But then you think, oh, I can't see why. And so the stronger that the mind gets, the more that it's inclined to take up its own idea of what is good and what is bad and what's real and what's unreal. So the mind is, of course, an interface. It's an interface with the brain. brain is a physical, as wondrous as it is, it's still a physical thing. You can, once you die, your brain will be, you can put it in a pickle jar. I mean, you can put your brain in your brain that you have. So anyways, in a jar somewhere. So it's not you, is it? It's your brain. But so over time, man gets more and more reliable on his brain. His brain is really something. It's really, really something. So he becomes more and more, he depends to some degree. Some people are inclined, more in that direction. They depend completely on their mind. Such people are usually known as jerks because they just don't see obvious things. Because their mind tells something else, and you're going, no, 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 that's not it. Just come here. Let me give you a big hug. Everything's gonna be fine. Well, no, you're gonna hurt me. I know you are. I mean, so many things. You know what I'm talking about. So, essentially, fundamentally, the difficulty that you have as a person who has inherited the characteristics and the inclinations and proclivities, etc., of maybe 50,000 or so years of ancestry, is that by now a lot of those people in your ancestors have kind of gone away from and have lost touch with the awareness of the Almighty in their life and how to access it, or how to deal with it when they have it. So they use their mind, and their mind, which in other words, they become so dependent on their brain that that's where they go for answers. They don't go anywhere else to go to the brain. Well, so how does that mathematically? How does that make any sense? Now, so the mind is generally run by the forces that act upon it, the perceptions, material, vegetable, animal, human type perceptions that impinge upon it, and it moves when those things, impinge upon it. And when anything that's higher than that is operating, the mind doesn't catch that. You can catch it. You can say, wait, no, there's something else. No, there's nothing else. No, there's something. I feel something. So basically what this comes down to is something that's pretty simple, is that you have gotten yourself into the position where every time I tell you to use the saw to cut the piece of wood, plug it in, turn it on, be careful, hold it strong, and kind of brace yourself a little bit because it does kick, and saw along that straight line there, and then release the trigger, and you're done. And every time I do that, you say, no, I don't want to use the saw. I'm using the hammer. I'm sure I can knock this piece of wood off with the hammer. And you say, well, how stupid can you be? And then you get all offended. No, I have the hammer. I use hammer. So you're like a person who is so weak, that you're possessed by the hammer. You want to use the hammer to do everything. But, there's lots of things you can't do with a hammer. You just can't do them. They don't work. And the same thing goes for your interest in when you seek, your interest in finding, or getting some kind of connection, a real connection, not something you believe is a real connection, but something that is in your own awareness, your own experience, and is verifiable, is a real connection with the Almighty. You keep wanting to use that hammer. No, you have to use the saw. What is the saw? Well, the saw is that it can the basic, the fundamental simple saw is that when you wish to be connected, you hope to be connected, because there's nothing you can do. You can't connect. You don't have the ability to, say, hey God, come over here a minute. You can't do that. But you can say, okay, I'm ready. And then what you have to do is you have to wait, and you have to calm yourself down and not pay attention. And not give in to your heart and your mind and all the other things, your wishes and your passions and everything else in your system, and you just wait. Then, through your inner feeling, this is what we call, and that comes up through your inner heart, can come up through your inner heart a lot of times. It comes up through other things, but the easiest access is probably the inner heart. It rises up and it tells you things. So use the saw. So how you do that is by what we call just, letting go and letting God. And it's easier, it's misunderstood. I guess most intellectual people, they don't, what do they mean, let go and let go? What does it mean? It's like an intellectual trying to figure out what patience is. What is patience? How do you define that? So they think of a bunch of things. They can be trying to be patient in some really strange way, but patience is an attribute that you have. So you allow yourself to be patient. Just be patient. Well, so what do you think? That's being patient. So the way to be reconnected is just overlooked again and again and again. Man, has become quite full of himself, and the idea that the way that he should connect is by doing nothing, is just something he can't accept. Well, I have to do something. I'm the important one here. I will direct my life. I will say what I do. Now I want to find God. So here, what should I do? I'll go do this. I'll go do that. Blah, 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 blah. No. But the way is not to do that. So how does that work? Well, for example, suppose I think to myself and I say, well, I want to know if there's a God. I say, well, I don't know. A lot of people think there isn't, and I think there's quite a bit to what they're saying, because they've looked and they've looked and they've examined, they find no indication that, in their way of thinking of things. I mean, sure, the Earth is an incredible place and everything, but I mean, couldn't it all? I mean, like, how do we? I mean, because where is the God? Where is He? See? So, what am I doing there? Well, I'm trying to find God. And I'm going right down the rabbit hole, because I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about it with a tool which can't cut through the wood. It's not going to work. I'm not using the saw. I'm using the hammer. Bam, 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 bam. So what happens when I don't do that, and I have that question of is there a God? Yeah, there's a God. God loves you. So where does that come from? You say, well, he's just, in your mind, immediately doesn't understand anything. So go like, well, oh yeah, he's just saying. No, I'm not just saying. I'm moved to say that. Moved from within. Yeah, that's right. And so it's an inner thing, okay? Inner things cannot be accessed. Things in the real reality, it's a better reality, can't be accessed by things in a lower level. And the physical reality is really something, but it only goes so far. And so the Almighty has, he understands that man is missing this, so he brought, in the last century, he brought someone who, has a very strong connection with God, explain about, how you connect with God. In other words, you just wait quietly. You wait until you're moved from within. Generally, this is done in the presence of other people who have done this. It makes it stronger, but you can do it on your own. And if you do that, I should just say don't do it for too long, because actually getting work done by God can zap you pretty good. Half an hour twice a week, that's a good limit. Don't do it more than that when you start out. And that whole thing doesn't interfere with your life. Doesn't you go right on being who you are. I mean, look at me. Am I acting in some strange way? Obviously, I'm just being who I am. But it will gradually, in your own consciousness, in your own awareness, it will enlighten you and bring you back to a place. And eventually, when your instruments are cleaned up enough, you'll see, whoa, that's way better. I like that way better. That reality is, that's what I want. That's what I'm made for. That's what I love. Because that's the way God created us. So I'm just kind of trying to get you to consider that when you think about something, what are you doing? You are following a source that is known to you. So it's already something that there's not an unknown, essentially. The source is your mind, or perhaps the source is your heart. I believe that there is a God. I know because my mommy told me so. Your heart. You follow your heart. You follow your mind. You follow your passions. Yes, there's a God. We all know this. But you're following what we would call is like a lesser thing. So the real thing is beyond you. It's just beyond you. So the only way to access it is to quiet, wait till you're moved. And in that process of doing that a couple times a week, this gift was given out in the West, started in 1957. Guy who was a messenger for this, he came over, explained us. It's not about what he said, though. He told us right from the beginning, it's not about what I'm saying, it's not a belief system, it's an experience. In order to know, fundamentally and really know that there's a God, you have to experience it. You have to experience it. If I keep telling you, okay, there's a guy next over the hill here, and he's got a horse ranch. And he's a great guy. I want you to come and meet him. Well, then you know that you have to go over there and you have to meet the guy, because if you have any experience in life, you can think about it. You have no idea. Maybe he is a great guy. Something there you've never seen before. The way he is, or the way he is with his horses, or what he's doing is really cool, and you have to experience it. And that's the same thing that goes with God. I can talk to you. I am talking to you about your basic misdirection that you're having is you keep trying to use the hammer. You keep trying to use your mind to find God. It's so fundamentally doesn't work. You go nuts trying to do that eventually. Use your mind too much. Really feel that, you can just, because your mind is limited. The mind is limited. I was looking at a very bright guy talking the other day about a thing which I'm sure a lot of us have thought about. Well, the universe is infinite, and so, but your mind is limited. So it goes like, yeah, but what's the limit? What's outside of the universe? Come on, And it can't conceive of it because it is limited. So there was a guy, very intelligent, knowledgeable about physics, and explaining what's at the edge of the edge of the edge, talking about. He figured it out. He figured something out, In other words, what his mind is telling him is, no, it is limited. I know we say it's infinite, but what? So you can't really, you can't conceive, you can't think about God, because the instrument that you have, your mind, is a very good tool, and it operates within limits. There are limits to it. It understands limited things. It doesn't actually understand, even though it uses the word infinite, it doesn't understand infinite. If I think about infinite, I don't know what it means. But now, if I receive, if I let it come to me about infinite, let's see what happens there. Yeah, sure. So in that way, it's very easy, because that's an infinite being, inner feeling can go there without any real difficulty. Just like we can live on the earth very well, but as Joe was pointing out the other day, you really want to go to Mars? And he was telling you all the things, the radiation, the situation with microbes, the situation with water, the situation with a bunch of things. You'd have to be pretty, probably not going to make it back. Just the adjustment from going and coming. It's a foreign thing. You can't really do it, and it's the same thing actually with reality. You can't, you're living in this world, as we say. And this world means where the instruments that you're given to live here are they're made up to use here. I mean, this is perfect. You go to some place that rains a lot, you get a raincoat. When you go someplace else where there isn't rain, you put the raincoat aside. When you're going to the other, realities, you put the things that you use, your raincoat that you use in the rainy air, you put it aside. You don't listen to it. You don't need it. Why are you wearing a raincoat? It's sunny outside. It doesn't work. Okay, so, that's how it is. All right. Trying to, because you put the question up yourself. Well, okay, what is it, you ask? You ask the question, what is it? And then you try to figure out what it is. And then you think, I don't see it. Because you can't see it. You can't see something higher. A lower thing can't understand something that's higher. Okay? So the way, once again, to reconnect with the Almighty is here. It's known. There's been over 1 million people who have formally, reconnected, and quite a few of those people have gone down the path, which includes, a restoration of all the inner damage and all the things that have been done in your system, so that it can begin to function again, so that you can speak and do things with a really good content, so that your good character can, you can go to your good character, pretty much right away, without having the bad character take over. And you can see in the world the problem, just that one thing is causing us. You have so many people, and supposedly some good people, but their bad character in the end has the day. So you take some simple thing you want to do, and the first thing you know, they're doing something else with that, the bad character. And bad character, the nature, in my view, my understanding of the bad character is that, you need to know about your own bad character. you know, like, what is my bad character? Well, you know, if you ask me, you know, and you ask me from a sincere place, say, could you help me out with something? I'm going to say, well, yeah, sure, what is it? But if my bad character is dominating my good character, I'm very likely to say, well, I mean, you know, you have to help yourself. You have to, you have to do it yourself. You know, it's good for you. See, so the bad character thinks that not helping someone is good. So it thinks that's what's bad, because helping each other, as we know, if you've ever actually gotten into a situation with a team of people and you help each other, you know it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good. And, you know, sure, there can be some, you know, little difficulties on, but you know, team players get so much more done. It's good to help each other, isn't it? So why aren't people able to do more of that? Well, because bad character, you know, says, no, you have to do it yourself. You know, people are this, and then it starts having bad opinions about everybody else. Well, it's wrong to have a bad opinion about another creation of God. You know, it's stupid. But you know, that's how things are going. Anyhow, so that's the difficulty that you're having, and you know, hopefully, the Almighty will enlighten you and bring you to an understanding that, wait, why am I always following my mind? And, you know, indeed, it seems that many people in the West, you know, white people, you know, largely, I have to say, are very, very much, you know, one can observe that they're possessed by their mind. Absolutely possessed. Their mind rules them. If the mind says no, they have to say, well, you know, I don't think that's a good idea. These are boring, awful people who do these kinds of things. And you see them around you all the time. Whereas people who aren't dominated by their mind are much, you know, young kids. Johnny, could you help? Oh, sure, yeah, I'll help you. What do you want to do? See, and everybody goes, oh my God. But sure, no, they have a good time. They work together, and the kid learns a couple things, and he trusts the grown-up, and the grown-up is good, and helps him learn something, and you know, life gets better. Life could get a lot better. All right, that's it for now. Have a good day.